The world's once again facing a pretty grim fate in the Banner Saga 3. Darkness descends on an ever-increasing area, an ancient enemy known as the Dredge are attacking humanity's last strongholds, and nobody's altogether sure what to do about it. Other than swinging swords and axes like an absolute boss, that is. It would all seem like an insurmountable situation if it wasn't for the game's ever-rotating roster of fighters, philosophers, friends, enemies, and the ones you haven't quite figured out yet. Looking at you, new Dredge recruits. It's a game about characters as much as it's about turn-based combat, so let's turn the spotlight on 6 characters that earned a special place in our hearts throughout the latest Banner Saga installment. Let's start with Juno, who's been around since the first Banner Saga, but only gets a starring role as a playable character for the first time in number 3. Admittedly, her dead-eyed, seen some stuff stare can be unnerving at first, likewise the fact that it's left unclear whether she's truly alive or dead. That's always pause for thought when we meet new people, if we're being honest. But give her time and Juno reveals herself to be quite the romantic. Her relationship with Eyvind is one of the rare happy notes in the Banner Saga 3's narrative, and that weird fuzzy morality she has certainly makes her a memorable member of the battlefield. Once she's downed in combat, she returns on another plane to harvest energy until she can respawn. Although she's never going to be the hardest hitter on your roster, her active confuse ability is always useful, and during multi-wave encounters her staying power is a real boon. What's got 2 horns, 1 arm, and hits so hard that when a blow lands, even the Dredge next to the target gets knocked back? Ladies and gentlemen, Iver. A Varl mainstay since the first Banner Saga, despite his renown among his kin, his origins are a bit of a mystery. Why did he leave his own kind to help human folks build the town of Skoga, for example? Maybe we'll never know. What we do know is that smacking a Dredge into oblivion with his incredible single-handed axe attack is a metric ton of fun. His battering ram active ability is great for crowd control, and you really can't help but respect someone who's given this much to the cause. 1 limb, a chunk of face flesh, and counting, and yet he never sits around complaining about it. Here's to you, Iver, you beautiful mountain of axe proficiency. You've got to hand it to Bercy. He's a pretty straightforward guy. Your average Varl will talk your ear off about battle being in their blood, and the sense of duty they have for defending their hills. Not this one. He's really just after a comfortable life, decent pay, and not to be hassled by a barrage of questions from Iver. A relatable figure to many, really. Part of Ludin's travelling caravan, he's contracted to look after his much smaller charge. At least that's the official line. Rumours persist that he's actually working for a different, more shadowy organisation. Speaking plainly though, we'd probably forgive Bercy if it transpired he was working for the Dredge itself, so long as he still let us use his devastating Tempest ability. Unleash it in combat and you damage all enemies in range, flailing your axe in a beautiful balletic circle. Max it out and you can even hit up to 4 enemies at once this way. You did well, Bercy. One of a couple of playable Dredge characters in the Banner Saga 3, a series first incidentally, Apostate's certainly an odd fish. He looks like a bandaged thumb dressed up in armour and let loose on the battlefield. His movement animations are unnervingly inhuman, and he doesn't have an awful lot to say for himself. Nothing at all, in fact. But that only makes us like our new thumb friend more. Gordon Freeman didn't need to utter a word to save humanity from alien invasion, so why should Apostate blabber his way through repelling the forces of darkness? On the battlefield, he's an absolute monster, using his 2 active abilities, Umbrage and Rupture, to buff friendlies and smash any weakened enemies to smithereens, making him a permanent fixture on your roster. And to think you had the choice to kill him right in the beginning when he was introduced. No, don't try to talk, Apostate. We can sense your gratitude in the way that you absolutely eviscerated our foes just now. Castaway is next up, which means there are not 1 but 2 Dredge characters in this list. Blasphemy! Sacrilege! The Dredge was supposed to be the bad lot, and now they've even managed to invade this YouTube list feature. They truly are an unstoppable invading force. Except for the fact that, like her mate Apostate, we have no way of knowing whether they're actually mates by the way, Castaway is just playing the hand she's dealt. It's not like she's changed sides and pledged allegiance to Rook and humankind or anything. She just happened to get separated from her Dredge pals and she's making the best of it by fighting a common enemy, the darkness swallowing the world. So that's cool. Meanwhile in battle, she's incredibly potent. Her ranged attacks give you plenty of chance to severely weaken foes from afar before the Varls lumber in and smash them all to bits. We particularly like that one of her active abilities, Sunstrike, is really just hitting people really hard in the head. It just wouldn't feel right if we got to the end of this list and didn't mention Rook. Look at his face. That's how much he's been through to keep humanity safe from the dredge, the darkness, treacherous humans, and infighting within the caravan. It's the kind of 1,000-yard stare only Juno can compete with, and like Juno, Rook's a versatile character in combat. His 4-tile movement range makes him one of the sprightlier heroes, and he's got the advantage of both ranged and melee options. Basically, if it falls to Rook's turn and you're not in a position to do something mega, that's on you. Rookster can only do so much. His history goes right back to the town of Skoga, where he and longtime friend Iver lived before this whole nasty business kicked off. He was a humble hunter then, not carrying the weight of the world on his jowls like the present-day warrior you see before you. But give the guy a break. If he's alive by the end of your Banner Saga 3 playthrough, that means he's dodged death twice. That concludes our own personal Banner Saga 3 favourites list. It's nothing personal, Rugger. We just didn't like you very much. Let us know about your own favourite characters in the comments below, hit the subscribe button for more Banner Saga content, and remember to hit that bell to be notified whenever we post something new. We'll catch you next time.